What is happening at my school? My teacher was in the middle of explaining photosynthesis when he stopped mid-sentence and stared at the board like he'd never seen it before. I'm sorry, he said after a long pause. What is photosynthesis? I told my friend Lila when we were in line for lunch, but she was distracted, staring at the cafeteria menu. Since when do we have sushi? The cafeteria had a sushi station, a pasta bar, and a full salad setup. None of that had been there the day before. When Lila asked the lunch lady when the menu changed, she just shrugged. I joked that aliens were clearly taking over our school, but then things got weirder. On Friday, 5 girls from the senior class didn't show up. By Monday, they still hadn't come back. When I brought it up in homeroom, half the class looked at me like I was crazy. I pulled up the school directory on my phone to prove it. Their names were gone. All 5 of them erased from the system. Lila and I went to the main office to report it. The secretary pulled up the records and frowned at her computer screen. I don't see any students by those names, she said. We showed her our phones with old group photos. The girls were right there. She said she'd look into it but seemed more annoyed than concerned. That week, more teachers started acting strange. The Spanish teacher stopped mid-lesson and just stared at her textbook for 5 minutes. The gym teacher forgot what sport we were supposed to be playing. The calculus teacher walked out of class halfway through and didn't come back. Lila thought maybe someone was drugging the staff and maybe the missing students too. We started paying attention to the teacher's lounge and the water fountains, but we never saw anyone do anything. On Wednesday morning, all the trophies in the display case were different. State championships from years I didn't remember. Names of students I'd never heard of. Awards for sports teams that didn't sound right. I took pictures and compared them to photos I'd taken of the same case last month for the school newspaper. Completely different trophies. Someone had switched them all out. More students stopped showing up. 3 sophomores, 2 juniors, a senior from my English class. I started keeping a list on my phone of everyone who disappeared. By the end of the week, it was up to 15 people. The school website kept changing too. I'd check it one day and the principal's photo would be different. The About Us page would list a different founding year. I took screenshots every time I noticed something new. Lila found old school newspapers in the archive. We spent an afternoon going through them. Articles about events that I didn't remember happening. Photos of assemblies and pep rallies that seemed off. Mentions of clubs and programs that didn't exist anymore. Someone's rewriting everything, Lila said. The records, the website, the newspapers, but why? Thursday afternoon, I was working in the tech booth for the theater when I decided to check the security footage. I wasn't supposed to have access, but I knew the password from helping with school plays. I wanted to see if I could find anything about the missing students. I pulled up footage from the past few weeks and started going through it. The recordings were choppy and glitchy in places. Whole chunks of time seemed to be missing. Other parts looked like they'd been edited, but I couldn't tell how. I found clips of students I recognized walking into the building but never walking out. Teachers entering classrooms, and then the footage would just skip ahead an hour with the room empty. The more I watched, the more wrong it all felt. Not like the footage was fake, but like something had been carefully removed from it. Lila came to the tech booth and I showed her what I'd found. Someone's deleting parts of the recordings, she said. Who has access to the system? I didn't know. Supposedly only the principal and the security company, but clearly someone else had access too. On Friday, I started noticing the same car parked across from the school every morning. A black sedan with tinted windows. It would sit there from 7 a.m. until the first bell and then drive away. I pointed it out to Lila and she took a picture of the license plate. More weird stuff kept happening. Classroom numbers got switched around, bathroom locations changed floors, my locker combination stopped working, and when I went to the office, they said I'd never been assigned that locker number. I pulled out my phone to show them the locker assignment email from August. The email was gone. I searched my entire inbox. Nothing. Monday morning, Lila found the binders. She texted me to meet her in the library during lunch. She was standing in front of a shelf in the back corner. A whole row of identical black binders with no labels. She pulled one down and opened it. Pages and pages of names. Student names. Staff names. Each one had a date next to it and a single word. Replaced. Adjusted. Removed. The 5 girls who disappeared first were all there. Removed, dated from 2 weeks ago. I flipped through more pages. My teacher who forgot photosynthesis. Adjusted. The Spanish teacher. The calculus teacher. Dozens of students I recognized. My hands were shaking as I kept turning pages. Then I saw my own name. Next to it was tomorrow's date and the word replaced. Full story on the channel below.